What's up, guys? This is Ian, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, and welcome to week 4 of the League of Extraordinary Trainers. We face Coach WreckItMike and the Virginia Victinis this week. We're looking to bounce back after our 1-0 loss against Crispy, coach of the Chicago Shandies last week. It was a pretty tough loss to swallow, considering I had, I think, 3 points in the game where I made solid mistakes, and right at the end there I could have turned the game around and won. So we're going to come back with a vengeance this week. It was also tough to lose to a divisional opponent. Mike is not a divisional opponent. I'm sort of kind of confused on how playoffs work, to be honest, because the document says that the top 4 teams of the entire 16-team league go, and divisions mean nothing, but then what's the point of divisions, right? So in my mind, I think the top of each division should go, or we should have a longer playoffs where the top 2 from each division go, and then it's an 8-seed playoffs, which I personally like the idea of, where like seed 1 could play seed 8, different things like that. I have no idea what the sort of feasibility would work for that, but anyways, let's talk about Mike's team real quick. He has Excadrill, Salamence, Greninja that is allowed to have the Protean ability, Hippowdon, Milotic, Arcanine, Roserade, Durant, Leavanny, Mega Kangaskhan, and Stoutland. Mike's made a couple trades. He traded Orzan, Alakazam for Salamence. Unfortunately for us, because I had offered Orzan Mimikyu for the Salamence, so I would have loved to have Salamence on my team. I can still trade for it now. Mike does have it up on the trading block. I'm not sure if I want it at this point. Mimikyu's leading our team in kills, so I don't know if I really want to trade away Mimikyu at this point. Mimikyu does have a dual typing that I already have covered, and so it'd be nice to have a flying type on the team. I might actually put that trade up to Mike, maybe after our match is done, just that he doesn't have to focus on it. So that's his team. He's chosen his Z captains for this side of the bracket, weeks 4 to 6, to be his Protean Greninja as well as his Durant. I should note that because he has Protean Greninja, regular Greninja with the ability to use Protean, there is no option for someone to have just a straight Torrent Greninja. Otherwise, I would have drafted that myself probably. So Mike's hazard setters are Excadrill with Stealth Rocks, Greninja with Spikes and Toxic Spikes, Hippowdon with Stealth Rocks, Leavanny with Sticky Webs, and Roserade with Spikes and Toxic Spikes. His hazard removers are Excadrill with Rapid Spin, Salamence with Defog, and that is it. His 4x weaknesses are Salamence to Ice, Leavanny to Flying and Fire, Durant to Fire. That's it. His priority is Greninja with Shadow Sneak, Quick Attack, Water Shuriken, his Arcanine with Extreme Speed, his Mega Kangaskhan with Fake Out or Sucker Punch, and that looks like it's it as well. He does have a very threatening Sandcore and Excadrill Hippowdon. He has Mega Kangaskhan, which is stupid that it's allowed to be this fast. He has another Sand Sweeper in Stoutland, potentially. He's got a really bulky Wall and Milotic. Webs against my team is probably really good for his Mons. He doesn't have a very slow team. Like, a lot of his Mons are base 90 or above. And his slowest Mon is 47 in Hippowdon, and then besides that, it's 81 in Milotic, which is not, 80 in Stoutland, which is not slow, and Stoutland's going to be in Sand anyways. So he's got a very fast team. I'm not sure how well Webs synergize with this team, to be honest. It may, like, take away Scarf threats to potentially revenge kill. I don't see Leavanny coming. I'm not sure if I see Stoutland coming. Mike did bring Stoutland against Mugen last week in the Sand. I don't really know if I see Stoutland doing anything against me. I mean, typically Stoutland runs like Return, Superpower, Crunch. I'm not sure if he would bother bringing that against Mimikyu and potentially Delmise. Now, I haven't brought... I am switching things up a little bit this week, as you can kind of see up top there. I'm bringing Licky Licky and Delmise for the first time each, and we'll get into that in a second. But his Sand threatens me. His Milotic threatens me by being a stupid wall. Scarf Roserade's a problem. Greninja's an issue. Defensive Arcanine's a problem. I'm not too worried about offensive Arcanine, because I think my team deals with offensive fire types relatively well in the first place. No, it doesn't. What am I talking about? My team has struggled so hard against offensive fire types. I meant offensive Arcanine is a problem. Defensive Arcanine is not a problem. You guys saw how I struggled against Victini last week. Offensive fire types are the bane of my existence. I'd love to have like Salamence on my team to intimidate that sort of stuff. Anyways, that's my overview of his team, sort of. So let's get into my team. We're bringing Sparky this week. We did. Oh, I do want to touch on. I changed my Z captains for this side of the bracket. Magearna is no longer a Z captain, and Manaphy is, but Licky Licky is also still a Z captain. So Manaphy and Licky Licky are my 2 Z captains, and his are Greninja and Durant. Just to recap that. So we're bringing Waturium Z Manaphy. We're bringing the Z Crystal week 1. I kind of need this to counteract his Sand. We're bringing Z Rain Dance, which boosts my speed by 1 point. This lets us outspeed his entire team at +1 unless he's scarfed on Durant or Greninja, based on my speed investment. We're bringing Surf and Energy Ball as coverage moves this week because Surf hits his entire team except Melodic and Leavanny and Roserade, but Leavanny and Roserade are both very frail already. So Energy Ball is pretty much there to hit the Melodic because I think at +3, a Surf will do enough to Leavanny and Roserade, or he just won't bring them. That's the other option, is that he just won't bring them. I do have some good grass checks on my team right off the bat. He may bring Roserade for something like Rhydon. I'm not sure how much work Roserade can put in against like Mamoswine. Like Mamoswine threatens Roserade out with like an Ice Shard already. Roserade is so frail that it's not going to take an Ice Shard. So I'm not sure if he would bring that, but I did originally have Rain Dance, Surf, Ice Beam, and Energy Ball, and that was enough coverage to beat everything on his team reliably. But we weren't hitting hard enough without Tail Glow. Like we need Tail Glow here to do enough damage to his team with my coverage options, and I'd rather just be able to kill the Melodic than not kill the Melodic, because again his grass types are super frail, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah, that's the idea with Manaphy. I'm going to skip over Licky Licky and we'll come back to Licky Licky. So I'm bringing Air Canada again this week. This is the 3rd week in a row that Megalodios is coming. I'm kind of glad I didn't bring it in the first game because I didn't think it matched up well, but it's had some like decent matchups lately. It kind of sucks that it's only base 110 because it doesn't match up super well against things like Greninja, which can just like Shadow Sneak it, or Ice Beam or something and be faster than me. But for the rest of his team, I guess, I don't know. I did have some help on my Megalodios set from, excuse me, my good friend Ian. I know, it's hilarious, he's also named Ian. Sparky Spinda, he helped me out with this Megalodios set. I originally had Roost 3 attacks, and we went through some iterations of like physical Megalodios to see what that would do, and we came back to just dual stab Roost Calm Mind Megalodios. I think I'd Surf on here instead to hit the Excadrill and Hippowdon, but I realized that Excadrill is like frail on the special side anyways, and I don't know how well Hippowdon will be taking these hits either, so we're just going to leave it with this. Psyshock is the worst choice against his team, I believe, because his special defense is lower than his regular defense on many mons, especially for like Melodic. Once it has a Flame Orb Marvel Skill boost, Psychic will be hitting harder than Psyshock will. And Calm Mind is just there for setup, Roost is there for longevity. We do have enough speed to speed tie the... what? Oh, we're outspeeding Durant by 1 point. Initially, Mike had gone through some free agent transactions that were disallowed because he was over his free agent transaction limit. So he did have regular Latios on this team, and so I wanted to speed tie Latios, which is in my notes but is no longer relevant. So we're outspeeding Durant by 1 point if he's running max speed Durant with no Scarf. That's the idea for this. And Manaphy's out speed tying Mega Kangaskhan and potentially Salamence if he's not running a Scarf on it. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think Manaphy stays down on Salamence because I'm not running Ice Beam. I could bluff Ice Beam and like set up a Tail Glow in his face or something, but I have no idea. Yeah, so that's pretty much your Canada this week. We're bringing Kakashi again. Kakashi's been to every single match. I think at this point, Kakashi is the only Mon to come to every single game this season, all 4 weeks. Man, I love Aselgor. Aselgor just, it's so good on this team, in my opinion. It gives me a really, really fast speed tier that people can't deal with. Like, we saw that Chris had to Thunderwave my Selgor. Otherwise, it was like the biggest threat to his entire team that game. Like Choice Specs Bug Buzz ran through that guy's team. It does not do the same work against Mike. I believe it only can hit 2 things super effectively on his team. He's only got 2 things weak to Bug in the Leavanny and the Greninja. Yeah, that's it. Leavanny, Greninja are the only 2 things weak to Bug. So we're bringing a Spike Setter this week. We are running Life Orb Hydration. Mike doesn't have any knockoff users on his team, so I can afford to not run Sticky Hold. We'll just run through. I can afford to not run Sticky Hold. I really don't need to run Unburden because he doesn't have knockoff users, so I'm not going to lose my item unless I was running like Bug Gem or something, which I actually thought about doing, but I didn't think that it was worth it. So we're running Life Orb just for some extra damage. We're running Spikes, Bug Buzz, Water Shuriken, and HP Ice. So Spikes is just there to hazard stack his team. He doesn't have too much removal. He has to rely on Rapid Spin on Excadrill, in my opinion. I don't think he can afford to run Defog on Salamence. For such an offensive Mon, running Defog on that thing isn't really worth it in my mind. So basically his only hazard removal is Excadrill. And I'd like to get some Spikes up on his team early. This is kind of my dedicated lead. If he leads Arcanine, it's a real big problem, but in my mind, he's going to lead Leavanny anyways. And so I can potentially like Bug Buzz that thing as he gets up webs. And then maybe Bug Buzz at the next turn to kill it after his Focus Sash is broken. And then he doesn't really have the best answers for my Delmise after that. Or if he goes into Roserade right off the bat, I can HP Ice it or something like that. Like, I'm not sure. He might run like Tech HP Fire or something on there, so we'll see what happens with that. But Spikes is there for hazard stacking. Bug Buzz is there for good stab damage. Water Shuriken is there to hit the Excadrill if I need to. He does not have priority options on his Mons that are weak to water, except for Arcanine. And I don't think that Arcanine would ever click Extreme Speed against my Selgor when he clicks something like Flamethrower or Flare Blitz. And HP Ice is there for the Salamence and the Roserade in particular, I believe. I cannot touch the Durant with this set, and that's pretty much it, actually. I hit pretty much everything else. We're running just enough speed to outspeed No Scarf Greninja with this. I don't know if he would bring Scarf Greninja if he was bringing Protean anyways, because you kind of want to switch up moves. Yeah, that's the idea with the Selgor. Logan the Mamoswine is coming back this week. After a hiatus last week. I don't believe that Mamoswine was in the game last week. We're running Choice Scarf, again, just like week 1 with Thick Fat. This is primarily to counter things like Technician, Roserade, HP Fire, as well as Arcanine's fire-based attacks. Potentially like Melodic Ice Beam, although I think that he would probably just use a Water-type move if he was running something like that. Icicle Crash, Earthquake, Ice Shard knockoff. This is pretty basic. I want to get some items off of his team, such as like Scarf Durant potentially, Focus Sash Leavanny, whatever Arcanine wants to have if it's coming in on me. Greninja's item would be nice to get off. Melodic, if it has leftovers, would be nice to get off there. Anything with leftovers would be really nice to get off there. Icicle Crash is just good ice damage. If I find that I'm outspeeding his entire team, I can lock myself into Icicle Crash. Ice Shard is there for late game priority. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to outspeed Excadrill or Stoutland in Sand because they're doubled speed anyways. So we are only running enough speed to outspeed Greninja No Scarf with our Scarf. By 1 point, we should be outspeeding Greninja with No Scarf. Which lets us be adamant this week as well, which is nice because that means we hit harder. Excadrill, not in Sand, dies to an Earthquake because Mamoswine is a beast. Hopefully Icicle Crash does enough to Hippowdon. I don't know on that one. He could be running like Yawn Hippowdon. That'd be a real pain in the ass if he ran Yawn Hippowdon. I wouldn't put it past him either. Oh, I didn't even think of that until right now. That'd be so bad. Okay, we're running enough HP to have a odd HP value, and then I put the rest into special defense. And now we're moving on to Anchored our Delmise. I thought about Shiny Delmise. I wasn't really a big fan of Shiny Delmise. Anchored is primarily our switch into Excadrill. That thing is going to take a lot from Rocky Helmet. We also resist both stabs. He would have to run Shadow Claw for us. I believe we take a Shadow Claw from Excadrill Life Orb. I don't know if we take one from Sand Force Excadrill. He could run that. Sand Rush is better, in my opinion. I don't know. excuse me, that's what Earthquake is for the Excadrill, or catching like Arcanine on the Switch. Power Whip is there for the Hippowdon and the Milotic. Rapid Spin's there to get webs away from me, and potentially rocks away from me. Although I'm not weak to rocks this week, except on a Selgor, I would like to get rocks off my side of the field. Specifically, webs is what Rapid Spin is there for. I didn't think I needed to run AV this week because I'm primarily trying to check physical attackers. So we're running Rocky Helmet to deal with the oh my god, Excadrill. I did not need Anchor Shot this week because there's nothing I really want to trap. If he wants to switch things out, feel free, my friend. And I also needed the coverage to deal with Excadrill, so that's why we've got Toxic in the last slot for things like Melodic. I don't care if Melodic gets Marvel Skill with Toxic up, because Toxic is going to wear that thing down. Toxic is really nice for the Hippowdon, and Hippowdon has no way to get rid of it. He has one Cleric on his team, I believe, and that is, well, I know for sure he has at least one Cleric. I believe that's the only one in Roserade, which gets Aromatherapy. He could run Special Tech like that. I don't know if he's put in the same amount of prep that I have for that, obviously. We're running Brave Natured because I found that I did not need a Defensive Nature to eat 2 Excadrill Iron Heads or EQs when he's with a Life Orb. So we're running a plus attack nature to hit back harder a little bit, and that's pretty much anchored this week. So now that we've gone through the supporting cast, let's get to the star of the show. He's pretty much our win con, breaking down everything, potentially Manaphy sweeping later with Rain Up or whatever, but he's pretty much our win con this week, and that is Noah, our shiny male Licky Licky, making his debut. As I talked about in the Teambuilder last week, I found it that Licky Licky gets Belly Drum, and so I'm bringing it against Sand, because like I said in my draft analysis, Cloud9 is broken. Yeah, we're running Figgyberry Cloud9. Cloud9, as you can see right here, I'll just bring up the description, when this Pokemon is active, the effects of weather conditions are disabled. Therefore, Excadrill and Setland cannot outspeed me, or don't double their speed in Sand. Now, I don't know how relevant that is, because I'm not running any speed investment anyways, because of a base 50 mon, but I thought it was kind of cool that I can negate the effects of the weather. I guess I'm not taking chip from Sand, at least, so that's a thing. Figgyberry is there to get our health back up after a Belly Drum. We're running Belly Drum, 3 coverage moves. Power Whip is there for the Hippowdon and the Melodic at +6. I OHKO both of them. I guess it's also... No, that's pretty much all it's there for, because everything else dies to a Facade or a Fire Punch. So Fire Punch is there specifically for the Durant? It's specifically there for the Durant, and I guess it's there for the Excadrill as well, because it'll do more damage to the Excadrill. Facade kills everything else on his team because his only normal resists are Excadrill and Durant, and he has no ghost types on his team. So Facade is there for those. I'm not sure how well I'm taking hits from like Mega Kangaskhan and stuff, which is why I'm running max HP, max defense. I found that running this with an Impish Nature didn't give me enough power to KO the Melodic at after +6 with a Power Whip. So we're running Adamant to actually do that, because goddamn Melodic, you're fat. That's Noah. I'm so excited to use this Licky Licky. You know, at this point in the season, we're 2-1 +5, but I can see that kind of our easier matches are behind us, and so as we continue through like the stress of like my final exams coming up and stuff like that with school, I'm kind of on the train of like stunt or die in this league. I really came into this league kind of trying to learn. This was the first league that had started, so now that I'm actually in 5 leagues now, as I was complaining 2 months ago about being in none. But this is my first, so I want to put in the effort to learn as best as I can and compete against these guys. It's also the most broken. Literally, in every other league, there's only one other one where Mega Latios and Mega Latios are allowed. Ash Greninja is not allowed in any of them, Aegislash is not allowed in any of them, Mega Kangaskhan is not allowed in any of them, Tapu Lele is not allowed in any of them, Landorus Eye with Sheer Force is not allowed in any of them. Like all the broken stuff that we allowed in this league that I personally expect to be banned, because I will vote for it to be banned next season. I don't know how that changes anything, except for the fact that this is a great league with great guys. They're really positive. I love hanging out in the server. And I love that I can do battle videos thanks to TJ for this league. I've only been doing battle videos for my Showdown League other than that, right? So it's nice to be able to get some Wi-Fi exposure or like learning through Wi-Fi leagues and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the plan. No new artwork this week. That's okay. I'm just running the regular Charizard background. We'll sort of just like flip through backgrounds each week. I didn't really have any extra artwork from Cade to show off this week, so that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys for the battle.